Before we get started, please take the time to like, add, and subscribe to our pages on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes. Also, please leave us a review.
But it was a rough night. I jokingly, half jokingly say I think I was traumatized by that windstorm. It sucked. You know, at some point you just sitting there and you're just like, dear God, because it would die down just long enough for you to get your hopes up that it was past. And that was great.
We can wander our way over, you know, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
Clink.
What's up? How we doing, my man?
Doing great. Being busy, moving that whole office. I don't know if you've seen, but I've been just busy. And it's nice as this podcast comes out this Wednesday. We're recording this on Sunday. It's coming out this Wednesday. That's right. If you're listening to Wandering Ways for the first time, this is one of those episodes where you're getting it fresh. You're getting it right off the oven, right out of the microwave, as they say these days, them kids. But this is a good episode. It's coming in hot. The weather is beautiful. I did steaks in bear country today with Jared, so you'll see some of that content on the socials. And
yeah, I did actually see. I saw, what was it? There's you guys have like a cutting board.
yeah, the Montana Block Co., our good pals, our good friends at Montana Block Co. hooked up the Wandering Ways team with a cutting board. So it lives in the Rougarou. We can cut stuff on it. I've used it as a plate before because, like, why not?
I mean, it gets the job done.
It's made out of wood, one of Mark's favorite elements.
Yeah, I do love good wood.
Oh no, it's good. No, I am excited. We got out there today. We got out to do that, but I've been moving stuff at the office like crazy, like I was saying, and I need to get out and touch the blue sky, see the fresh air, smell the trees, and beautiful fall day, warm fall day. What have you been up to, my guy?
Not a whole lot, I'll be honest. It's just busy at work, but I do see in the horizon things are going to open up a little bit, at least to the point where I can go out, maybe get some trail running in, maybe get some bike rides out in nature, getting some of those kind of things going. So, I think I'm getting pretty optimistic that I'll be able to get out and see the world a little bit more other than work, because that's all I do right now, but I don't mind it.
But you're outside with your job, which is nice. You're out on a field, you're out on the green grass, you're around.
I'm out on the artificial turf. It's green. It looks like grass, but it's artificial turf.
Okay, fair. But you're out, you're seeing sports. Sports always good to see. And I'm just out here in Montana living it up with the Wandering Ways crew this fall, I guess. Because fall is your busy time. So I'll take care of us.
Yeah. I mean, last week I talked about doing a trail run at Silver Falls, so I get out there. When I get out there, I do it big.
And you know who else does it big?
I was just going to say the same thing. I know who does it big because we've got him on today. It's our good friend. It's our good pal. It is the wonderful Kalman, or as you guys probably all know him as, the Everyday Backpacker. And if you don't know him by the Everyday Backpacker, you probably know him as Ghost Mule.
His trail name, you're right.
Yeah.
No, and go check him out. Go right now, pause this episode, or you don't even need to pause. Just open up the YouTube app. I know you got it on your phone. Go find Everyday Backpacker. Scroll down, scroll. Everyday Backpacker. Yeah, it's got the logo that Mark. Hold it up again for the video view.
Just like this.
And you click it and you hit subscribe and you help his numbers get up because he's been doing that for some time. And he puts out some cool content here in the like central Montana, central northern Wyoming area of just these beautiful places and hikes he goes on.
100%. And we even get to listen to some of them today. fact, I'm so excited about getting to listen to these that we're just gonna hop in and do it right now. Alrighty, we are back, and we are back with one of our good friends, the everyday backpacker, Kalman. Kalman, how you doing, my man? How you been?
Doing great, man. How are you guys doing?
Busy. I feel like life is just busy right now.
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast. It's fall, so I'm normally very, very busy. But I mean, outside being busy, I'm perfect and getting better. I can't really ask for anything else much. Um, let's just go into it. I mean, like, how's the YouTube been for you? I think you said right before this you were doing like a live, right?
Yeah, I just got done doing a little live Q&A. It went pretty well. Generally, things are still moving along pretty decently. The channel's growing, albeit slowly, but that's fine with me. I'm not out to become the next YouTube sensation, as I've said before, and really still just enjoying meeting up with the other people in the community and fostering some friendships, and looking forward to some future joint ventures with some of those guys. So yeah, it's going pretty decently.
Well, good. Yeah, no, it was. I've been keeping up. I've been trying to keep up with your YouTube. You seem to be all over the place. You know, you're down in Wyoming, you're over here by Nye, and you're up over there. You're doing this. You're running. You're all over the place, man. And it's good to see. I enjoy it. I know this summer. Were you affected this summer? I guess by the floods in our area for like some of your hikes, because I know like Rosebud, like I couldn't go up there as much as I wanted to in places like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been a crazy summer. Not only has it affected me personally, but also professionally. Working at the shop, we've definitely noticed a decrease. When I was doing an overnight backpacking trip up at September Morn, which is right on the Stillwater there, I had no idea that a week after we were there, I even commented in the video and to my friend that the amazing amount of water that was going through there. And only a week later, that parking lot that we were at is completely gone. The road's completely gone. Nobody has any idea what the trail conditions are because they literally can't get back into that area. And it's just mind boggling. But we definitely saw a lot of decrease, and it definitely created some hardships as far as getting out to some of our favorite places.
Well, and that's interesting because Jared had the same issue where he's at Paradise Valley up Mill Creek. But apparently he was telling me up there they have been able to really get behind putting together that road because of the hunting that they have, like the primitive camping for hunting. So it's interesting how certain tourisms like that, because like the park, for example, Yellowstone Park, they got fixed right away because all that federal dollars. But like some of these pristine areas like you're talking about, it's like, yeah, I don't know if I can get up to West Rosebud. I want to try.
So I have actually gone up to part of the West Rosebud, and I worked emergency services for 10 years. I worked tornadoes and other natural disasters, and I've never seen a level of destruction like that before. It's not just a matter of repaving that road. They're going to have to rebuild the road. There's nothing to pave. There was a 250 to 300 yard swath of land that was just taken down to the bedrock, some 10, 15 feet down. And the river doesn't even, it doesn't live where it used to live anymore. It moved completely. So it's understandable why it's going to take up to 2 years for something like that to be fixed. And they're going to fix it, but it's just utter devastation. Some areas were able to be fixed pretty quickly. In other areas, it's just going to take a little bit more time. There was a lot of federal money available, but the problem is that the same problem the parks and the Forest Service have experienced for years, which is the shortage of staffing and funding, is definitely affecting it. But a little bit of patience and maybe a little bit more using this as a way to explore some new areas, get out there and see some places that you haven't seen before. They'll get there eventually. Just give it some time.
Right. No, that's definitely a good way to look at it. Is that, I guess, kind of going into, I know you went down to Wind River. and that just some beautiful footage down there for sure. I made me want to go down there. There's also a good documentary called Patagonia Tribal Waters that talks about the river down there, the Wind River, and the reservation and the involvement with the water. But is that what forced you guys to go down there, or is that kind of a planned trip?
It's kind of both. We had talked about, Jay and I had talked about doing the winds before. It definitely affected the timetable on that because, it was an opportunity like, well, we can't go to the places we normally go. So let's go someplace, that's been on our radar, but maybe not necessarily was, in the forefront. And, I'm so glad that we did because it ended up being, one of my bucket list places. We went up to the Cirque of the Towers, and even though it's a good example of how a lot of times what we envision for our trip doesn't work out the way we want it to, which in this case, we had to change a little bit of our itinerary on the fly, but it still ended up being an amazing trip. And it's one of those places where even when you're standing there, you're like, this doesn't, look real. I feel like I'm in some place that's, exotic, and I'm, hard to believe it's just a state over. Going up to the Cirque of the Towers and just being there amongst these granite monoliths that are just sprouting all over the place. It made it worth dealing with the crazy windstorms and stuff that we encountered while we were up there. They definitely lived up to their name of the Wind River. But it was an amazing trip. So like I say, I think it was a good opportunity to, because like everybody else, I was really shocked. I had no idea it was even coming. And then I woke up the next morning and saw all these things about the destruction in the Red Lodge. And I'm like, what destruction in Red Lodge? And then just being absolutely flabbergasted by what had occurred. And then just being able to take something like that and go, you know what, this is just an opportunity for me to go to some other places.
Right.
Just for the people that may not know, where is the Wind River? Because we have listeners all the way in Virginia that are familiar with the area. So where is the Wind River?
That's a good point. Sorry. Yeah.
No.
So the Wind River range is in Wyoming. It's kind of southeast of the Teton Range, which is south of Yellowstone. So it's about an 8-hour drive from where I live. So, we woke up, we drove for 8 hours and then immediately hiked on a trail. I don't recommend that, but that's what we did.
No, I just had a flight that I ran in the Salt Lake airport, man. And you go from sitting on the airplane for like 2-3 hours to just a dead sprint, and your legs, man, they don't work the same. They're not meant for those sitting and then those hard workouts like that. Unless you're Mark, because you're always working out.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Some of those Adonises out there like him. I am not. So, sitting in a car for 8 hours and then throwing a 35-pound pack on my back and hiking literally into the mountains. Not one of my better decisions in life.
How long was that trip?
So we ended up doing approximately, I can't remember the exact mileage. So originally we had planned to do a loop, and we were going to go up and over down into the valley. So we were going to start out by hitting Jackass Pass, which is a pass that lives up to its name, because I was thinking, good, this is a jackass the entire way. And then we were going to go down the valley and head up. We ended up not doing the full loop. So we got in there and we hiked up to the top of Jackass Pass. And for a couple of different reasons I won't go into, we made a decision not to do the whole loop because there was some concerns about my hiking buddy being able to actually complete that portion of the trip.
Don't worry. We have a map buddy. We understand how that works. We have a map buddy.
So
if he can't do it, we won't do it.
So, well, it was a tough decision because Jay really wanted to do it and we both wanted to do it. But, at some point you have to think, okay, for safety reasons, we got to consider this. And in hindsight, we probably should have still gone down at least into the valley and then turned around, but we didn't. And then, we got hit by a massive windstorm, but that's, later down. But to answer your original question, I would say over the 4 days, one of those days we didn't do any hiking. We just, camped out by the lake for the day, which was actually a blessing. So many times you go on these backpacking trips and you just like hike and hike and hike, and then to actually have an opportunity to just kind of take it easy and sit around and enjoy your surroundings was, I can't recommend it enough. I think more trips I need to do where we just hike in and then just chill for a day or two and enjoy it. But anyways, I would say we did probably about 20 miles or so, 25. So not a huge mileage day, but in those miles, we gained several thousand feet of elevation over some pretty rough terrain. We were at points literally rock hopping. We were climbing up boulders. So it was rough.
So are you saying 20 miles total for the round trip that you did, or is it 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I think we hiked back in about, it was like 13 miles or so. So we hiked in part of the way. We camped at Big Sandy Lake, and then we went up over Jackass Pass, and we camped at the top of Arrowhead Lake. And it was a gorgeous, gorgeous campsite, but it was above tree line, and we just got slammed by this windstorm pretty much the entire evening. And you try to set up your tent so it faces into the wind so it gets the best possible. The wind was coming literally from 3 different sides. So it would come from one side, and then it would switch to the other side, and then it would hit the front. And so tents were getting pancaked all night long. We thought, both of us thought our tents were going to end up destroyed. They didn't. They actually held up pretty well. But it was a rough night. I half jokingly say I think I was traumatized by that windstorm. It sucked. At some point you just sitting there and you're just like, dear God, because it would die down just long enough for you to get your hopes up that it was past, and then it would start up again. And it was just like bad words were said. That's all I can say.
How long would you say it last?
It went on for hours. It was windy when we got there, and we went down into the campsite probably about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And it was windy throughout dinner, and it really kicked up shortly after dinner. And we just kind of retreated the tents, and it continued until, I would say, probably about 3 or 4 in the morning. So it was just, it was just constant.
See, Mark doesn't really understand these eastern front winds that these mountains over here get. They're bad. Like, you guys get like that big windstorm that came through Oregon. I saw like my dad and they're like, yeah, knocked tree limbs over and stuff because you guys have a lot of trees over there. But I was like, this is nothing. Like, you get out here to Montana, that's wind sucks. East Southern Wyoming, where you're at. Oh, Wind River. I wonder why they call it that.
Yeah, I wonder where they came up with that name. Oh, no, I figured it out.
Gosh, damn, 2 a.m. Oh, that's the worst. That's like sleeping in the rain or the hailstorm. That's what made me think of, we hit a hailstorm this summer, and I was just like, where you're just like, is this where we die? Is this the end?
Well, yeah, it was like, what are we going to do if our tents get shredded? We've got 3 more days, and are we just going to hike out? Like, what was going to happen? I had one very slightly bent pole, and that was it. It was pretty amazing. I caught some video of it, but like, literally it would hit the side and the whole tent would come down on top of me. Like, I could feel the tent being pushed on my body as I was laying down. And it was rough,
Were you able to get any sleep?
Little, very, very little. We were both pretty whipped by the next day.
No, I bet.
And we got up pretty early. One, because for me, it worked out well because the shot was just amazing. The lighting was just so, awesome. Seeing the area we were in was still really shadow cast. And then the granite faces were all just like glowing in the distance. But mainly because we wanted to get the hell out of there. We were just so beat to shit by that point. It was just like, we just wanted to go. And we packed up. I don't even think we ate breakfast. I'm pretty sure we ate breakfast after we got down from the pass. We just hightailed it out of there. And I think in the monologue of the second day at the beginning, you could just see my look on my face. I'm just like pissed at the world.
Fuck. Oh man, I get it. Those days suck. Those camping trips They're fun though. They're the ones that
Yeah.
you get good stories from them, but they suck.
They're definitely type 2 fun. Looking back in it, you can laugh and tell a good story and enjoy the moment. And and then I'd also tell people, like, even though that sucked, it was a beautiful place, and I would have rather have been there than deal with something like that here. So there's good and bad. But at the moment, you're just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What is the motivation here?
Right. No, exactly. Yeah. No, I really want to get down into, like, the more and more I explore Wyoming, right? Like I've slowly dabbled into the Bighorns a little bit more and more. I saw your stuff with Wind River. I'm like, and then like the Tetons, like I've always wanted to get into the Tetons a little bit more. And I'm just like, oh, and Mark, get a better job.
They're amazing. We'll just have to leave Mark behind. I would go
Right.
back to the Bighorns in a heartbeat.
Okay.
The Bighorns, I don't know why. Like I said, a couple years ago, we did last year we did a trip there, and I had this thought in my head that the Bighorns were just going to be average, and I'm like, when I got out there, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to.
I think it's just because they're small.
Yeah,
And
they're just
what I mean?
overlooked, but they're
Like,
phenomenal.
there's too much greatness around them that their greatness gets overshadowed. Oh, I love it. I love going down there. Oh,
Yeah. So on that day on the Wind River, when you where you guys didn't do any hiking, did you just hang out by a lake, or what were you guys doing?
So we did actually do a little bit of hiking, but we didn't do any backpacking. We hiked up to another lake. And to tell you just how spectacular the Wyoming or the Wind River Range is, any other time, if we would have gone up to that particular lake, we would have been blown away by its beauty. There, it was kind of like, nah. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you see there. It was so spectacular that even this really gorgeous lake in its own right was just kind of okay. And
Really?
but we did a little bit of hiking, but we left the packs behind. We just set up camp. Otherwise, Jay is an accomplished artist. He did some watercolor while we were down there. I kind of just did some filming and frankly took a nap, which was glorious. Just sleeping out on there underneath the trees and on a rock next to the lake. Trying to stay out of the sun because I had ironically just did a video on not getting sunburned, and I got sunburned on my face. So I was just trying to keep out of that, and so I was completely covered. I jokingly referred to myself as the backpacking bandito because I had a mask over my face and sunglasses and everything else. And I was just completely covered. And it really was just we just took it easy. Jay went out and set his chair in the middle of the lake and just kind of sat in the lake for a while. I would have joined him, but again, I was trying to hide from the sun because I'm a ginger and it hates me. It really was just like refreshing not to have an agenda, not to have anything to do, and to be able to just sit on a chair and look out across a beautiful lake and read, think, all those kind of things.
Yeah, I did a backpacking trip in Northern California in the Trinity Alps, and we planned it. It wasn't anything crazy, but we just hiked up to this lake, hung out at the lake for the next day, and then hiked down that third day for like a long weekend. But being able to just like not have your heavy pack on, explore the areas, go like, hey, that looks like a cool peak. Let's go climb to the top of that. Or like, hey, let's go swim and just hang out in that area. It was kind of a nice way to break it up instead of feeling like you're just always on the move, getting that to that next destination.
Well, and I think that's something, talking about our chalet that we did this summer in Glacier. If you're to like do one of those chalets, give yourself the time, you get a day to go explore those areas, because there's a reason people built those houses up there.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that was kind of was the less enjoyable part was it's very busy there. It's probably the busiest trailhead I've ever been to.
Oh, really?
Because one, that the Forest Service there, they give about permits for businesses. And I think that they kind of funnel everybody into that area because it's already heavily impacted. And so they're kind of like using the philosophy of, instead of spreading it out, they're just kind of keeping an area that's already. So there's a lot of groups through there, but then there's also a lot of climbers that go through there. So if you're looking for solitude, it's not a good trip to do for solitude.
So when you say that, what about like your backcountry camps? How many other campers would you say are in the backcountry kind of with you?
Well, where we camped on the second night up when we had the windstorm, we were the only. Well, actually, no, there was one other set of campers up there who were getting just as hammered as we were.
Yeah.
But they were kind of off in a distance. We could see them, but we didn't really have any interaction with them. Where we were at on Big Sandy Lake, though, it was like being at a KOA campground. I mean, there were people in every single spot imaginable. The places we would originally plan on camping, we had to go and find another campsite because they were full. So there were just people everywhere. And in addition to that, we were watching people coming down the trail, just like groups of people after each other, alpacas and everything else that were going in, and everybody just kind of spreading out. So, it wasn't like I felt like it was oppressive, but like there were a lot of people there. Every direction you looked at, you saw a tent.
Oh, wow.
That sounds kind of crazy. The fact that there's that many people. You said they sold the permits to like businesses. Does that mean like guides and stuff?
Yeah. So if you are a business or a commercial enterprise and you want to lead groups into a national forest, you have to have a permit. And I don't know the whole process behind it, but it's not like, for you and me, if we want to go do a trip out there, we don't have to have a permit. It's just you go. But businesses are a little bit different. And the National Forest Service, they limit those. So I know, like, for instance, there's only a couple businesses I think that currently have permits to do trips in the Beartooth. One of them being the Beartooth Guides, and they kind of have the biggest permit right now. I think there's a couple of forest outfitters that have permits as well, but basically they're just not. They're trying to limit the amount of impact for financial gain. It's not there to limit people's enjoyment on their personal level, but yeah, if you go in with a guide service, they're limiting those. But yeah, it's guide services, lodges, camps, any of those kind of things that lead, groups of people into the backcountry.
Yeah, I'm all for limiting that impact as much as we can, especially if you do those businesses. Sometimes we'll start just pumping and pumping and pumping people through that area, and before you know it, it's a different place.
Yeah, it's really there designed to protect everybody from overuse. And and on paper it seems like it's a bit of an intrusion or overstep, but I really feel like it's been shown that big groups like that, they have to be kind of forced into taking care of the land. If left to their own devices, they just don't do it. And so that's why organizations like Leave No Trace, which is where I got the mug from, Keep Calm and Dig a Cat Hole. Those guys are so important because they're out there just trying to spread that word of why it's important to do these things. Because if we don't do it, we're going to see more permits. Right now they're already toying with the idea of permitting the beaten path. And it needs it because it's being destroyed by love. Like if you go outside of any of those campsites, there's trash everywhere. So unless we start really following these standards and cleaning up our act, we're going to see it more and more. There's several national parks now that you can't even leave your poop behind. You have to pack everything out. You have to bring a wag bag. And if you don't want to do that stuff, you're going to have to start taking care of doing it right, packing out your toilet paper and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, got a little soapboxy there.
No, you're kind of on point. I mean, we've talked about permits on here before and how it's really the reason why permits are popping up is things are getting overcrowded and things are starting to become really dangerous because there's more people. And it's kind of this double-edged sword because you're like, it's awesome more people are going out and doing these things, but more people, they just don't take care of things. So then there's going to be all this damage and stuff. So you have to err on the side of taking care of the place rather than the amount of people that go in.
Well, and not only that, but you have the people who don't like the permit system, so they are going to leave their litter behind because they're like, well, I had to pay extra. And it's interesting because like you get a mixed bag of what the permits do. And it just sucks that we as people are just shitty in that sense. We don't clean up after ourselves. We've created this a society where we expect others to do it for us. And it's like, no, we need it. Like, if we're going to protect these places, it starts with you and I, so only I can do what I can do,
Yeah. I think, the thing we run into, and I see a lot, is people who have a mentality of, oh, it's just me, what's this one thing going to hurt? What's this one, piece going to, well, you have to think if every single person who goes out there does just that one little thing, that's thousands and thousands of people. And that shit adds up. And, it really is incumbent on ourselves to make sure that we ourselves are doing the best thing. And then, in addition, if you want to take a step further, I carry a trash bag with me in, and I try to pack out any trash I get on the way out. Even picking up other people's toilet paper, which is just terrible, but there are ways.
Yeah.
But if we don't do those things, we're gonna lose out on our ability to enjoy these places. You wouldn't go into somebody else's house, shit on their floor, leave your toilet paper behind, and then take off, and that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love the garbage bag thing. I love it because like you said, if everyone's just like one little thing, it's just one little thing. It can also be reversed. If you take one little thing, if everyone just took one thing, then all of a sudden you're being a part of the solution, not the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my favorite stories in this realm, and I'll get off this soapbox here after this. My buddy Jim from Lost Again with Jim, he's also a YouTube channel, great guy. He got into a conversation with somebody, and a guy was like, well, what does it matter? It's just poop. It biodegrades, and it'll be gone in like 6 months. And Jim just finally had enough, and he goes, all right, I'll tell you what, go to your house, take a shit in your living room, and tell me how it looks after 6 months. He said the guy just blocked him.
But you're not wrong. It's like we hide that, right, through the plumbing and the sewers and the stuff in our everyday, because we've created it to be that. But really, like back in the day, people would go shit in the woods over there, and that would fertilize or do that or do those things. And we're getting away from the like living with the land and rather just like exploiting it. And I think that gets confused sometimes with people going on these places and going to these trails, right? Like, it's not just for the picture or the whatnot. There's more to it. There's more to understanding this earth. There's more to like living in harmony with it. And right now, everyone's like, it's hot in October. It's hot in October. It's like, well, take notice. That's the earth sending us a sign. It shouldn't be this way.
Yeah, it's very hot. Too hot for me.
Isn't it 90 degrees down by you?
Yeah, we hit 90 degrees yesterday, so that was unpleasant. We're supposed to get rain next week. It's supposed to be like 60 and rainy, and I'm like, yes.
Coasty, that's why. No, it's crazy. I mean, but it starts with us. It starts with cleaning up. It starts with recycling. It starts with just being a good steward on the trails.
So I was kind of thinking of getting into sport fishing again, but I feel like I need a good quality net.
Well, you know what, Reverend? I got the key solution for you. Our friends at Blue Ribbon Net make this eco-friendly aquafade bag, so you're not hurting the environment. It's 100% biodegradable. Plus, the wood is locally sourced, and it is also biodegradable, and it's just such a great company to use. The Blue Ribbon Nets, they're here in Bozeman, Montana, and we even have a discount code. That's right. If you use the code Rougarou10, that's right. That's my Jeep, the Rougarou. Rougarou10, RUGARU10. You're going to get some discount on a Blue Ribbon net. You can get the long one if you're fishing the big fish, or you can get just the good river one, if you're like me and just want to catch a lot of fish.
So again, make sure you go check out Blue Ribbon and use the promo code Rougarou10.
Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You know, you use the code Wandering Ways, WANDERING and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount.
So we talked a little bit about shit earlier, and so now I want to actually use this as a different kind of segue into my favorite segment, cool shit in nature. Although this time there will be no feces of it. It's just cool videos that we have of nature here. So this first one here, I think is pretty wild. I don't know if it's technically a video. It's more of a GIF that keeps replaying here. But so it's in the middle of it. But for the people that are just listening and for when we get it, this osprey catches a fish. And then a pelican comes and swoops in and steals the fish.
Back off, bitch.
Yeah, essentially.
I'm about it.
I just never
Pelican's a
would have thought
big
a pelican
bird.
had, yeah, right? It's a huge bird.
Yeah, kestrels actually aren't super big, and they're gonna lose. It's like a sumo wrestler going against a welterweight.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Throw the weight at, like he just throws his weight at it, like, oh, not hit you in the legs, like you drop the fish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
What
kind
the
of
hell,
wild.
man?
And then the second one, this one is kind of going back to one of our more favorite things to laugh at. And I was curious if you've ever ran into some Turons in your time.
Oh, too many.
But for the people just listening, this is a 9-year-old girl getting flung very high into the air by a buffalo.
Go ahead.
No, I was just telling it was a buffalo. I don't think I mentioned it was a buffalo.
And the sad part about this is it's like it's not the kid's fault. It's like, what were the parents thinking? Like, well, they weren't, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, they're thinking, oh, it's like Disney World. It's a petting zoo.
Read the sign, like they give you paper, like when you walk in, there's signs, like there's that's a walk trail. I feel like that's by the Dragon's Mouth over there in Yellowstone or whatever.
We had a guy come into our shop. This is a couple years ago, and he was complaining about the fact that for a backcountry permit, you have to have you have to go through this video and training course on how to deal with bears and stuff like that. And I remember finally, like, he's irritating me to begin with. And he goes, "You think that stuff's really necessary?" And I was like, absolutely it is. Because every year, people like you come into the park, don't pay attention to that stuff, get hurt, the animal dies, and then we have to deal with it. And the look on his face is classic. I thought for sure I was going to get in trouble, but I didn't.
But
I just was
you're
like,
not wrong, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, you know, we say it all the time, you know, it's like, the people that live here that know better, they look at it and they go, God, why are? But when you are on the outside looking in, you're not taught on that. But yet, it's that idea of, oh, I know how things are. I don't need to learn anything else. I know what I'm doing. And then stupid shit like that happens, and you know, an animal gets shot because of it. So it's frustrating.
I like seeing that stuff. I like seeing the bison eat the kids because, like, we should have that. Like, why not? Like, yeah, your kid should die. If it's that dumb and the parents are that dumb, like, the kids probably would turn out dumb if the parents are that dumb to begin with. So, like, does it matter if we lose them at that point? Let the animal win.
Clean up the gene pool a little bit.
Yeah.
We're already overpopulated.
Natural selection.
Let them die. Just let Darwinism get in there and take care of. Some of the smart will die. We know that's part of Darwinism, but we'll thrive. Life finds a way.
100%. You feel bad for that kid though, because the parents were like in that video were like deuces, like didn't even they know it's no kid's not going to be even close to outrunning it, like swoop the kid or something.
They should be charged with child endangerment at that point, because it's like, yeah, they just blitzed and left that little girl on her own, man. It's like, dicks.
Mom and dad were out of there real quick compared to the girl.
Yeah, they better never give her crap for peeing her pants ever again, because I'm sure they did.
Well, right.
I mean, and I like bison, they're huge.
They are.
So you work at an outdoor store. What are some of those Turon moments you've had? You got to have had a couple. Like the Alexander don't float.
Yeah. We have people that call up and they're like, I've never paddleboarded before. Can I paddleboard on the Yellowstone? No. Like, go to a lake.
Yeah.
These things aren't that easy. People who come in and say, oh, I can just use a bear bell and be fine, right? I don't have to carry bear spray. The one that I get the most are the people that, are like, oh, that bear spray is really heavy. I'm just going to carry my gun. How does that gun's heavier?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm really good at shooting in a piece of paper that's stationary. But if it grew claws and teeth and was coming at me at 35 miles an hour, I wasn't going to hit shit. So, we had a guy that told us that he kept his food in his tent with him at night because they were sealed in bags and the bears wouldn't be able to smell it, which is not true. If you've ever been around a large shipment of sealed bag meals, you can still smell it.
That's wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. We had some people that rented some snowshoes from us that were looking for the Forrest Fenn treasure when that was still a thing. And they went into Yellowstone and they never came back. They never brought the snowshoes back. We never heard from them. We charged their credit cards and never heard anything. So that may or may not be a Turon story. I don't know, because they just disappeared.
That's kind of wild too.
Assumed they bought here, huh?
Mm-hmm. But we get a lot of people that come in and they have absolutely no experience, and they want to go off and do the biggest, baddest trip, and you just have to kind of walk them back and say like, all right, let's think about this for a second. You've never done this before. I know on paper it seems like it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but there's a lot of shit that you need to know in order to go backpacking or like rock climbing. I had one guy I absolutely refused to sell gear to because he wanted to go rock climbing. I said, well, you ever done it before? He's like, no. I said, you have friends that do it? No, I was just going to watch some YouTube videos. I was like, dude, I'm not selling you this stuff. I was like, if you go take some classes and you become proficient and stuff like that, then I'll consider it. But I'm not going to be a part of you killing yourself.
For real. That's a ballsy move. Because
I don't know if ballsy is the right word.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, there's some knots you have to make sure you know before you start climbing and stuff. And then there's the lead climbing. I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's Alex Honnold and can just free solo it.
Yeah, even Alex Honnold did a shit ton of rope climbing before he free soloed. So yeah, it's that you see it quite a bit, and generally it's generally males in the age of 20 to 30 that are the worst offenders. But it's that idea of, well, I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't need your help. The classic one is when they come into the shop and their interaction, and we jokingly say to each other, it's like that Ron Swanson meme, where he walks in the store and the guy asks him if he needs help, and he's like, I know more than you do.
Oh, yeah.
And it happens all the time. And you just sit there and go, okay, I don't know
Yeah.
what else
But
to do.
us here at the Wandering Ways podcast, when we do that, we do know more than you. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I'm not smart when it comes
Well,
to a lot.
the problem is,
You
I
may,
think,
no matter
is-
how much you think you know, nature will humble your ass.
right,
That's all I have to say.
Exactly.
right? But no, but you're right though. You're on something, because I think part of that attitude comes from, like, we have gone to a world of, like, we're going to our outdoor store. You're not getting the expert anymore, because the big box stores, the Shields, the Cabela's, they've turned into, hey, we're just stocking the shelves and pumping out product. Where, like, where you work, the base camp, they are hiring experts. They are hiring people who know the products and understand them and are going to test those in the outdoors, because that's why you go to an outdoor store.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. Like you don't go to a Kmart, or sorry, I'm dating myself there, a Walmart or something, and expect to get expert experience. But places like local stores, those are the ones you turn to, because they do hire people. They have that luxury. That's how they exist over these other stores, is being able to have that expert stuff. And usually when I get that kind of attitude of I know more than you do, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, that's cool. I have a college degree in this shit, but whatever, you do you, boo.
Right. I get that a lot.
But yes, I will help you with the backpacks, because I know you will ask that question.
Yeah.
Right? I get it. Yeah, see, when I worked at Cabela's, man, all I did was sell credit cards. I was one of those. See, it was more about just pumping money out, not even like the gear.
So outside Wind River, you said you did one other backpacking trip this year, yeah?
So the only other backpacking trip I got out on was that one that we did right before the flood at Sioux Charlie. We had another one planned, but the weather kind of screwed that. I'm getting ready to go on another one, hopefully this weekend. But we did a couple of day trips. That was more, I think, inducive of what the season was like. We did the day hike down what was left of West Rosebud or East Rosebud, to kind of survey the damage there. And we did another trip on the Lake Fork for an overnight, or not for an overnight, but for a day hike. But yeah, generally speaking, it was a pretty quiet year overall, more so than some for me. The Wind River Range was by far the biggest event. So hopefully, though, next year I'll be able to kind of make up for that. I'm in early talks right now with my buddy Jim from Lost Again with Jim. And I'm going to fly down to Reno, and we're going to either hike the Tahoe Rim Trail, which is a trail that circumnavigates around Lake Tahoe, or we're going to do the Tahoe to Yosemite Trail, which is a trail that runs from Tahoe Lake to Yosemite. Both are about 180 miles or so, and we're hoping to do them in 9 days. So they're going to be some mile-packed days. But, of course, nothing's set in stone. Things can change between now and then, but that's kind of what we're leaning towards. My cousin is going to be visiting from Florida, and she wants to get out and do some backpacking. So I'm hoping to have a lot more opportunities this next summer. This summer, with the flooding and everything, it didn't work out as well as we wanted it to, and other things that were going on with the weird weather and stuff. Not every year I'd love to be able to be out every weekend, but the reality is some years are better than others.
Right. Totally. I hope you get to do those 100-milers. That'll be really cool.
I'm pretty certain we'll get to chance to do one. The hard part, obviously, just going to be getting down there, but he lives down there. So once I get down there, and then, after that, once you get on the trail, it's just a matter of anytime you do a long distance trail, there's such a element of luck involved. I was heartbroken for some of the PCT hikers this year, because the bubble hit the end at the exact same time that they closed the northern terminus because of a wildfire.
Mm-hmm.
So the vast majority of PCT hikers did not get to go to the monument this year. And it's just a luck of the draw, and I think it's going to become more and more likely. I think that that we're going to see more of that. So when you're doing 100 miles, you're doing 10 miles, it doesn't matter. You can come down wrong on a foot, twist an ankle, and your trip's done.
Yeah.
So, but, hopefully, we get a chance to do it. And it's beautiful country. So it's kind of hard to go wrong with it.
100%. And if you keep that running up, man, I see you running all the time, and I love it. I love seeing people out there getting in shape however they want to do it.
Yeah, I definitely am in better shape. And I think, a couple years ago, if I had tried to do the Wind River Range, I would have just died right on the trail and turned into a puddle of jelly fat. I'm not a small person. I'm certainly not like, I have a middle-aged man gut, but my resting heart rate is on average is 48, which is pretty darn good. So, I definitely have to work more. This trip, if we do it, is going to be we're going to have to average over 20 miles a day.
That's crazy.
Wow. Which is tough. So definitely have some training to do between now and then. But I'm up for the challenge. I bike, walk, and run to work every day. So
hell yeah.
You got rid of your car, right? And that's all you do is
yeah, I don't have a car. My car died and I did not replace it. So I'm fully embracing that alternative lifestyle. I don't own a car. I don't own a TV. I'm one of those weirdos.
Yeah, you and Mark.
I have a TV.
Yeah, but like you like that, you don't really use it.
Yeah, that's fair. I've had the same TV for, I think I've had it over 10 years actually now.
Because you have had it. That's why you had it.
Yeah.
I graduated college in 2012. I went to college late in life. And the day that I graduated college, I sold my Xbox 360 and my TV to some kids that live in the dorm, and that was the last time I ever owned either.
Wow.
So
it's not a bad way to do it. I mean, it's Mark, he got a van to be a little creeper, but
I know the van is amazing.
I'm no idiot. I got to see the candy before I get into the van.
The only thing I got in my van are bikes. So
I got 2 of those sitting in my living room right now. So
hey, that's a great place. That is the world would be better with more bikes. But
Agreed.
anyways, I gotta be that guy. We are running out of time, so it is time for our final words. Kalman, since you are our guest, we'll let you take the floor. Again, this is anything you want, whether it's a poem you brought, a song you brought, you have a PSA, anything, literally anything you want. Go ahead. The floor is yours, Kalman.
You know what? Just get out there and do it. Even if nature throws you a few curveballs in the way of massive, devastating floods, go find someplace new to go.
Love it. Love it. Zach.
Yeah, guys, thank you for listening in. Thank you, Kalman, for being here today. We are super thankful to hear about your summer, to check out everything Everyday Backpacker has going on. So go make sure to follow Kalman on his YouTube page if you haven't already. He's always pumping out great content, funny content. I enjoy it. I just don't get enough time to go around to it, but I need to, because it is great content and you need to get to it. If you're a wanderer, you need to check out Everyday Backpacker on YouTube. But, like Kalman said, you got to, prepare for the fastball and adjust for the curve, because life's going to throw you curveballs every goddamn day. So just be ready to adjust for the curve. All right, Mark.
Love it. Reverend's final words. Stay beautiful, everybody. I want to say huge thank you to Kalman for coming out. We appreciate you. Always love chatting with you, our good friend there. Make sure everyone goes checks out Backpacker.
Nice.
We want to make sure we get as much of our wanderers out there checking out your stuff. But yeah, just listen to Woodsy the Owl. Give a hoot, don't pollute. That being said, though, peace out, everybody.
Bye.